On today's University of Arizona Futures in Digital Learning podcast, we bring you a conversation with members of UCATT's Visual Design and Academic Technology team as we explore the coursemaker design system and the role visual design plays in online course design.
There's so much creativity that an instructor can now bring to a course in a bunch of different ways. So I think it opens up the creativity for the instructor as well as the instructional designer to get really, really creative and take courses to the, I'm not going to say next level, I'm going to say beyond the next level.
Join us as we discuss design systems, practical tips for using your LMS, and resources to improve the look and flow of your course. Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Futures in Digital Learning podcast. My name is Adam Davi. I'm an instructional design manager with UCATT here at the University of Arizona, and I'm here with my co-host, Brian Hale.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing today?
We are here today to talk about visual design and design systems and learning management systems and how all that comes together. So we have a lot of guests here to talk with today. I'm super excited. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll go ahead and start with Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm an instructional designer in UCATT, and I help make the coursemaker thing as an instructional designer.
Awesome. And Georgia.
Hi, I'm Georgia Davis. I'm the Assistant Director of Instructional Technology. And basically what that means is I manage the D2L team on campus.
Elyssa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elyssa Naval. I'm a web developer for UCATT, and I help to translate our visual design team's designs into reusable HTML code.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Valentin.
Cool. Hello, my name is Valentin, and I'm the Assistant Director of Digital Communications at UCATT, and I'm also a visual designer, and that was my part in this project, the visuals of what we created.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into what was created, which is coursemaker, which is a design system that we instructional designers and faculty can use for course design. So just to start off, tell me what is a design system specifically?
For a design system, there's really no one definition, but it can be described as like a collection of reusable components, scalable components. It's a shared design language that can be used by teams. Like across different disciplines. And then one of its purpose is that to achieve cohesiveness across experiences for users.
So how does that differ from a template per se?
It's different from a template because there's multiple parts to it. There's usually a set of standards and guidelines on how you would use certain components in the library. We have this formula that we like to use in our presentations, and that's coursemaker design system equals design plus code plus documentation plus community. So yeah, all of those parts put together. And page templates is one of those, but there's just like multiple parts to it.
Page templates are more static, right? Think of this as a repository, right? You have something and then you can add more stuff to it. Almost like a buffet, right? But the buffet also has like limitations, right? Like you have to kind of stay within, but you can also expand and go beyond that. It's more like a starting point that will give you more flexibility.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point because customization is worked into a design system. And of course, we want to be very conscientious that instructors have different needs and goals. And so the idea isn't to impose a template on them, it's to give them a set of tools that they can use to design their pages and their course sites. And of course, at the same time, by giving everyone the same set of tools, hoping that there gets to be a little more consistency across sites, even with the flexibility and variation.
So I want to thank Valentin for hitting the food analogy 3 minutes into recording. So previously at the U of A, we had something called Wildcat, and Wildcat was a template kind of. And I love the buffet analogy because there's so much creativity that an instructor can now bring to a course, whereas every course is still going to have the look and feel of University of Arizona. Whereas before you were kind of boxed in by the definition of template when using Wildcat. And now we can do a lot of pretty stuff and in a bunch of different ways. So I think it opens up the creativity for the instructor as well as the instructional designer to get really, really creative and take courses to the, I'm not going to say next level, I'm going to say beyond the next level.
Yeah, you can really make like the learning experience that you want, especially with like Wildcat. As an ID, I would meet with instructors and they'd be like, I just want like this doesn't quite, like, this page template doesn't quite like do it, like it doesn't have everything that I need. And I'm like, okay, well, we can like try and move some stuff around. There was so time and labor intensive as somebody who has like a decent degree of like HTML knowledge to like try and like, okay, I want to move this like columned bit over here and then like shove this other thing onto this, where that was. And then sometimes it just wouldn't work. And then you have to have the awkward conversation with like the instructor of like, okay, I tried and it didn't work. And by the way, you probably shouldn't edit this page because if you accidentally copy and paste something, it might break. coursemaker does a really great job because it's so light and easy to use, and it gives a lot of those tools to the instructor themselves, like, oh, a year from now when I'm not working with the ID, I want to add something to this page because I found a really good resource or a really good video. They have the power to go grab that building block, and it's very easy using D2L's built-in features to just pop it onto the page wherever they want. They don't have to, come emailing us like, I want to add this and I don't know how, and I thought I tried to do it and it broke the page. So there's a lot of like fear taken out.
This is a wonderful thing for our team too, because template code often lives in places that like our team can't access, for example, and so questions would come to us that we couldn't help answer, and we'd have to move people off to another team, which is never a good feeling, right? When someone calls you to have to say sorry, you have to go somewhere else. But now there's a resource where if somebody wants to do something, we can show them where to go to get the thing that they want and then how to put it into their page. So it also makes it a lot easier for all of our groups to support faculty together, as opposed to working in silos in some ways on templates.
100%.
You all made it super easy. You created a website for coursemaker for this design system where anybody could go in and there's tutorials and they could grab what they want and, like Georgia said, and put it into their site. What was the motivation that you had for doing that? I mean, other than making it easier for faculty, like what was that inspiration behind creating that website?
So something that was really like in the back of our minds when we were like thinking about like the design system, when Elyssa brought up this idea to Sarah and I, and we started talking about it. And I told Sarah, I really want to support her with this. I think we can get it off the ground and started going. We started hearing like these talks about like what if we end up moving to a different platform, right? Like, because at first the idea was like to build something maybe like within D2L or something like that. And then we knew we were like a small team. Like we now have like Jessica and then the D2L team helping us out. But when we started, it was just the two of us, right? And then Sarah, whenever she could, she would like pitch in and help. That was brought up, and we were like, what if we just create something that's LMS agnostic, right? So that way, and that's when the idea of having a standalone site came about. Because that way, like we can make it work with D2L if they ever decide to go to another LMS, like we can make it work as well. We just didn't want to waste the work, right? Because we knew it was going to take us a long time.
We started with a problem and that we partnered with I believe it was Cat Pulse to survey the students. And when the survey results arrived, one of the the students said there that courses feel like they vary wildly. It feels like a different application every time. So that's something that like I always remember. For instructors as well, I've heard that they spend a lot of time layouting, formatting the pages instead of actually like building the content pages. So
Right.
those were main motivations. And also with the template system from before, like Wildcat, Wilbur, like all those previous design sets, as a small team, we found that they were not sustainable versus this design system model where we can scale, and with the use of documentation, like we can just point people to these resources and empower them to create and build their own pages.
And it keeps evolving, right? If something like a new problem arises, we find a
Mhm.
solution and then we implement it. For example, like one of the coolest tools we have is a page builder, and Elyssa like coded that from scratch, right? And that started because when I was in the MFA program at the U of A, one of my faculty, like she was the lead in my committee, was having problems with one of her pages, and I was like, send me your link, I think I can fix it. And then it was that an easy fix for me, and I was like, okay, I don't know why I cannot get it to work. I sent it to Elyssa, and Elyssa was like, I'll fix it in an hour. And then the whole day went by and I didn't hear from Elyssa, and Elyssa was like, I don't know what she did. I wish I could reset the page. And she literally
Mhm.
said that, and that whole thing sparked that really cool like tool that she developed, right? Like, well, what if she was like, what if we develop some, by we, she means her, right? What if we develop something that would allow us to like preview a page and then also reset it and copy it from there? And that's how the whole thing started. It's always a problem that you have to find a solution for, right?
Yeah.
Which design is that, right? Like you're trying to find a solution for something.
Speaking from experience, I love Page Builder. It's wonderful, and
Okay,
instructors love
hang
it.
on, time out. We're talking about course builder. What is this page builder thing?
Yes. So does someone want to explain how the Page Builder works for our listening audience? This wonderful tool on the coursemaker website.
I don't know, Eliza, do you want to explain your magic tool?
Well, page builder, it's one of the different I would say like methods, like just one of the different ways to build pages using coursemaker. So let me see, I'm pulling up the website here so I can kind of visualize it. So it lets you start a page from scratch. It's like an interactive drag and drop tool where you can pick and choose the building blocks. For example, you have options, heading and text options from H2s, H3s, H4s. And then you have other components such as like text boxes, block quotes, lists, images, dividers, tables, and we plan to grow this list as the system evolves. It's an interactive tool where you choose and you can order or you can delete it if you don't like. And then once you're done, copy the page, copy the code, and then just paste it in the D2L WYSIWYG editor.
So what I love most about it as an instructional designer, working with faculty is, I can sit there and do this with the faculty. I can empower them to go on and build themselves. And I don't need a whole lot of HTML knowledge to do it, right? I just pick the blocks that I want, I drag and drop them in, and then I can copy hit the copy button, paste it in there, and it's good. And if I don't like it, I can go back and start over and do it all over again. And it's, and it's easy. And I don't have to go in and try to figure out which bits and pieces of code I need to remove or add, or, it's all done for me. And I think that's a huge win for everybody for customization of their sites. And so, I'm grateful.
So if
And
I
even
use
better, it's all coded for accessibility. So, you know, that's been a big thing for our team at D2L, is trying to guide people toward accessible design in their courses. But some things are really difficult to make accessible, like tables. And D2L just really makes that difficult. So we often tell people to avoid tables, but now there's a fully accessible table that they can plop into their course and then use. So, and with confidence that it is accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So now with Page Builder and Course Builder, because as an instructor, I can build my own course, does that mean I don't need an instructional designer anymore? Somebody please say no, that's not what that means.
No, I would say no.
Never.
Right. I guess I can answer this one. I ironically, like when I first kind of got dragged into the project, and I dragged maybe isn't the right word because that makes it sound bad, because I was happy to join, but there was that like weird intrusive thought in the back of my head, like, this is going to replace you. But it isn't, because like lets the instructional designer more focus on the kind of like nitty gritty and the important parts of instructional design, rather than like helping an instructor like build a HTML page and like lay things out and spending hours and hours and hours trying to, you know, make a template that's rigid and hard to edit work for what they envisioned. We can instead focus on, you know, we can ensure that, you know, there's really strong alignment between, you know, the course objectives and the module objectives and the activities that students are doing. You know, we can spend more time building those like learning objects. So like those interactive play posits, those H5P interactives, I'm not sure what you call them actually.
Interactive seems right.
Yeah, I think so. But we can focus more of like our attention and our energy into those things that honestly enhance the students' like overall learning experience. So instead of being kind of seen as like a weird graphic designer, not graphic designer, coder, I'm not sure what you are, tech help, we are actually kind of seen more as, you know, instructional designers, and we can focus on that more. So I'm a big fan for that reason, because it gives more time for the fun alignment talks.
Like, I think this is, you know, really focusing on the visual design aspect. And Jessica brought up so many other, you know, different aspects of course design. But, you know, I'm just curious to hear from all of you, like, how can visual design enhance the course design, and why is it important for an effective course design?
Because I think it, like Jessica just said, it will improve the learning experience of the user, right? It'll allow them to go through the content with ease, and they would just focus on the material instead of trying to find things around and going from place to place. I think it will entice them to want to learn more. Like if you have a good experience on a platform or an app or website, you're more likely to come back, right? Because your experience was pleasant, right? I think there's a big misconception between like design and like a lot of people think design are just like photos and illustrations and videos and things like that. But design is everything. Is the content, the way like the headers are like set, the space between headers and main content, the way photos are set in the page, how much breathing room there's between them, the structure of the whole thing. Like I shown Elyssa, like look, for example, like this is design, and there's not a single image, not a single icon, not a single illustration. Design is the structure of things, right? For example, we design our houses, right? Like, and there's like pieces of furniture and everything is arranged in certain ways. That's why I don't think, Brian, that they will not be able to do this without an instructional designer as easily, because we set up this structure with the code and the documentation and the visual design of how things could look for them from the beginning, like to give them a better starting point, but they still need to grab all that content and arrange it in a way that is like easy for the students to go through and digest it, right? And they say that good design is normally not seen but perceived, right? When you see good design, you normally just absorb the information, and then sometimes it hits you later, right? Bad design, you see it like that, like instantly. When something is bad, your eye just goes to that. And I think that's why it would enhance the experience.
And it's also nice that when you go into a course that has CourseMaker applied to it, I'll kind of use the Starbucks McDonald's analogy. No matter what Starbucks or McDonald's you go in anywhere in the world, you know that you're in a Starbucks.
Exactly.
And that's nice to have that feeling with CourseMaker. But also, each one is just a little bit different. So the instructor can add their own personalization to it, while still remaining in the realm of CourseMaker and using Page Builder to add their personality and whatnot.
And that's some pushback that we got at the beginning. Remember, Elyssa? Like, oh, they're like going to try to set like boundaries. I'm like, no, it's actually the opposite of that. Because even Georgia mentioned it, right? We're giving you a starting point, right? It's like at some point, I think I kept calling it like starter kit, right? I was like, this is our starter kit, right? These are some of like the foundations that you need. Like all your H1 through H6 are set. Your body text is set. Your photo structure, like things like that, right? And then here, like open your little play box and then do whatever you want with it, right? You can customize it and make it as different as you want. Like I remember the first time I saw an actual live for like a faculty, I think Matt, it was the one that sent a link to see if we could like take some quizzes from like a faculty that he was working with. And that was the first time I actually saw CourseMaker, like a class that was built in CourseMaker. And I was super excited because I was like, I didn't foresee it to look like that, but he did it his way, right? And I was like, that's super cool.
That course was really cool because the instructor did like they really were conscientious of like making learning experiences. So it wasn't just, an overview page with a bunch of files dumped into the topic area of D2L.
Like an experience, right?
Yeah, you would go from one page, like the overview that kind of gave you the like, here's my roadmap, to like the next page, which was like a lecture, quote unquote, but it had like a video and like a bit of reading and some pictures, and illustrations and quotes, and then like additional resources at the bottom of each page for like further reading. And you moved on to the next one, which just built on the previous page. So it was kind of like you were almost reading and watching like a digital book. Almost. It was really cool to see. It was like one of the first courses that got kind of guinea pigged, I guess you could say, with CourseMaker, and it was awesome. And
it felt like a journey, right, going through it, and it was really cool to take. Like I was really excited.
Let me ask this. What are some things that instructors and instructional designers can do from a visual standpoint, from that structure standpoint to kind of help give their courses that flow, that feel of the journey within the LMS?
I was gonna say one of my favorite components or building blocks in CourseMaker is the banners. I think they're very powerful because it changes the whole look and feel of the course. So like a chemistry course will look different from like a mathematics class, right? I think with like powerful images, it can make students feel at home in the course, like through good use of images. And we have several banner themes posted on the site. The range is from like finance to film and television, medical courses, and our designers have been working very hard to curate these. So
if an instructor wants to, just real quick, Georgia, I just want to jump in to talk about the banner themes. If an instructor doesn't see a banner theme that they fit their course, can they come to you all and get a new theme created?
Yeah, we have a form, and this goes to our designer Elyssa Sanchez, and she's been helping a lot of like IDs in curating these banners. And also something that we could do is like if the instructors or the IDs have their own set, they can just forward that to us, and like we can help with the cropping, making sure it's the right size and it's optimized for web.
That's awesome. That's great. And I love that. So it adds another layer of customization too. But Georgia, I didn't mean to cut you off, so I want to make sure you jump in there.
No, that's fine. That was good information to add. Something I really like about the CourseMaker is it adds a widget on the homepage. And just so I'm not using too much techno speak, right? Widgets are those kind of building blocks that you can move around and use to set up the homepage of a course. And that widget welcomes students to the course and it guides them how to get started. So it's kind of nice that that's already built. And then it's consistently on the course homepage of every course. So students see this and they get that same set of instructions every time about how to get started, right? Go to content, get into the Start Here module. So I think that's a really important thing because right, the first day when a student opens a D2L site, it makes all the difference in the world if they know right away what they're supposed to be doing or if they flounder a little bit trying to figure out where to go.
It's great that you brought up the widget too, because it's also like personalized. So it'll pull the name of the student, like how they're listed inside D2L. And Georgia, please correct me if I'm wrong, like how it pulls that name. But
That's right.
so like when a student comes to the homepage of the course, you know, it says, welcome, my name's Jessica. So it says, welcome, Jessica. So it's like a really nice, like kind of warm, fuzzy feeling right when you know, enter a course. It's like, oh, little personalization there is always really great. And it helps build that instructor-student connection without, you know, needing to do that yourself, like, because there's D2L strings that do that.
And that's great too, because it's not like an announcement that'll get buried as the more announcements that you post, right? So it'll always be there to for students. So I think that's a great touch. Thank you for bringing that up, Georgia.
Right. And another good thing about widgets is at some point, and people have read them a lot, they can kind of collapse them so they don't have to keep looking at them. So they can control that too. So then it doesn't sit there and annoy them for the rest of the semester if they want to collapse them, right?
That's actually nice. I did not know that about the widgets, that you could collapse them. So awesome.
Well, you do have the ability as an instructor designer to set widgets up so they can't be collapsible.
Okay.
So you can override that. So I don't want to talk in blanket terms that they're always collapsible, because that's not the case.
Well, what are some other design elements in D2L that people might not be aware of that we can use it to enhance our courses? Because I know it's you know, capable of so many things, and you know, most of us probably only use a fraction of the capability there within D2L, and you know, within what coursemaker can do as well. But what are some things that we might not be aware of?
I'll start, since we're talking particular to D2L, and I'm thinking of these in the larger sense of what we mean by design, not necessarily just aesthetic design. But I think the dates tool is one that people are using more. That the tool within the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years has had a lot of development and has become really powerful. And so I highly encourage people to use the dates tool. And by that, what I mean is anytime you go into D2L and you get one of those calendars that pops up and you select a date, that date ends up in the dates tool. And what that means is that date then gets put into the calendar. It gets sent as a notification out to students via a few different mechanisms, right? It gets attached to whatever the activity is. And there's actually a manage dates tool in the back end of the course that it's not easy, but it makes it easier to update dates. And then of course, we've been working with a team on campus that deals with a lot of integrations between tools on campus, and they've built some a functionality into the course site request tool to update or move dates forward using that manage dates tool within D2L. So that tool is becoming a lot more powerful. Another tool that I really love is the intelligent agents tool, and that's basically an intelligent email tool. And so you can customize emails and target them to go to specific students. And I think immediately a lot of people think about using that tool as a reminder, you have a quiz coming or you didn't do this thing, but I think they're really wonderful for positive feedback. For example, the first week of courses, once a student has completed everything, an email that says, congratulations, you got through everything, right? What a relief the first week of school of classes when you're not sure, right, that you've done everything you need to do. So there's a lot of powerful uses for those emails, and they're a little complex to set up the first time, but I think once you've done one, they become a whole lot easier, and they're really a great way to connect with students. And we know from the survey that was just done of undergraduate students that one thing they really appreciate is faculty reaching, or instructors reaching out to them and checking on them. So intelligent agents provide kind of an automated way to do that. Granted, it's email, and we could discuss the merits of email, right? That's a whole different conversation, but that tool is there. And I've seen it put to beautiful use in some cases on campus. And then one more thing I'll mention, because a lot of instructors don't know about this, is there's an app called Pulse. And it's not really useful for instructors or designers, but a lot of students use it. We're actually one of the campuses with the highest usage of Pulse in the of all the people that use the D12 software. And it basically pushes notifications and calendars and courses in a very basic way to the phone. And a lot of students really rely on this Pulse app. And this is another place where dates become really important, because dates feed to that Pulse app. And a lot of students then use their Pulse app to track when things happen. So I encourage people to take a look at that just to see what it looks like. Again, it's not really going to be useful if you're in anything but a student capacity.
Yeah, I think it's also just good to like, you know, it's easy to say like, just add this to your, you know, right before the class starts checklist. But I think it's always good to just download that Pulse app and like check your course. Make sure that you can see everything in it, because we do have such a high usage on campus. Like you may or may not accidentally not like something may not be displaying to students, and that could be, you know, why there was like missing assignments or something. So it's always like a good way, and it's always good to see kind of how your content looks on that like mobile device visually. Like coursemaker was built with mobile in mind, so it does look really good when you like click on one of the like HTML pages inside the Pulse app. It looks beautiful, and it's a really nice like scrolling experience, especially like if it happens to maybe be a little longer. I enjoy it, but yeah, I just thought I'd sneak that in there. Like, check it out. It's invaluable. It changed my entire course design process.
I always wonder like what things look like to students, because I feel like sometimes we get a different view, and D2L has that view as a student mode, and I still don't always like know if that's really what the students see or not, especially when they click on, you know, some of the external learning tools and things like that. But you know, those are great pieces of advice to, you know, kind of do that and really get the feel of what things might look like for students. Because that can help inform your, you know, future decisions and whatnot of what you do in your course.
And not only what they see, Adam, is what they perceive, right?
Yeah.
Like if they perceive the course to be like interactive and fun and well structured and easy to read and easy to navigate and things like that, right? Like we put a lot of thought into that. That was like one of those things that, like when you were asking earlier, like what should an instructor put? And that's something that I always would go back to as a designer, like the philosophy of the Bauhaus, like school of design, right? Like form follows function, right? Like how something like looks like should like basically be determined in its functionality, right? And again, a lot of people like I've been asked internally in our department, like, oh, make this visual, like put some visual design into this course. And they're basically what they're asking is to add photos and illustrations. And I'm like, that's not design. You just want like something that looks different than the text, right? I said I would do this and that. There was a purpose behind it, right? Like there's going to be a functionality and a purpose in every single item that you add, right? And it's hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy. That's why I go back to what Brian was asking. Like it would be hard, like not to have instructional designers, because you guys are like the wizards of the content, right? Like I would not know how to break content down, but I know how to rate content, right? But I know how to visually make it more appealing, right? But I would need that kind of like help or like that kind of guidance to be able to make more informed decisions, right? So.
And I think like this is, you know, a good you know, a good place to remind instructional designers, not just in our department, but, you know, out there, anybody else who's listening to, you know, take advantage of the visual designers that are in your department. Or if you don't have visual designers in your department, you know, go out and find some and help, because I think that's, you know, we sometimes forget that we have this resource available to us that can help, and you all can do things and can see things in different ways. And I think you know, as is the case with anything, not just course design, right? The more eyes you can get on a project and the more perspectives you can view it from, and get that feedback, the better it can be. And so, you know, that's, I think a good reminder for us all right here.
And I think also reach out to the team working with the LMS to find out, yes, there's this new feature, but it doesn't quite work yet. Or, yes, we would love more people to use this feature because it's so cool and we've got feedback from the students. Find out from your LMS admins what's working well and what isn't. So you can get that in your course design too.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brian, because that's really something I think a lot of people think we're here just to answer tech questions, but we're not. Everybody on our team has master's degrees and PhDs, and a lot of them have taught. And we're here, if you have something you want to do in your course and you're not sure how to achieve that goal, we're here to offer advice and guide you. And we all know from sitting on this end what these different tools are capable of doing, but it's really hard when you haven't used the tools to really know that. So rather than go down the road of trying to figure it out, call us, tell us what you're trying to do, and we can help you find the tool that matches best with what you're trying to do and maybe save some frustration in the long run.
And even for us, it was really like eye-opening because like we thought we had a lot of issues solved, like Jessica, myself, and Elyssa. And then like when the whole merge started taking place, we were like, oh, let's try to reach out to the D2L team. They come on board, and then Georgia and Mark start like bringing up things. They were like, oh, we didn't know about that. We didn't consider this. We didn't think of that. And that's when the project really finally started going faster, right? Like we were like, okay, if we can address all those different things, we'll be able to have something really like solid to like share with everyone. But yeah, their support and their knowledge, it was like invaluable to what we did.
Oh, thank you guys.
No,
I've been really excited to be part of this project. It's such a cool thing to see.
We're so excited and happy that you guys like came on, and like it's been just so great, and just having a lifeline, you know, because we meet so often and stuff. It's like, oh, D2L is being really weird, like so my lifeline out, or like, oh, you know, is this like idea like feasible inside D2L or inside coursemaker? Like someone had an idea for like a new building block or something. Having kind of all of those perspectives of like, you know, we have the like D2L pros, visual design pro, coder pro, the ID pro. So like we kind of have a good, like, it's not a trifecta because there's more than three, but it's a really nice quintfecta. Is that a word?
It is now.
But it's
that'll be the title of this episode, quinfecta.
Actually, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But it really has been like just amazing. It's I have no words. I appreciate it.
I will say we are blessed in our team here at U of A in that there's a lot of passion for and excitement for, you know, everything that the different teams do. And, you know, I can speak, I've had many conversations with, you know, kind of everybody on this call as well as others. And there's always this little bit of excitement when you're working on something and trying to figure something out or solve a problem or, you know, do whatever it is we do to make courses better and make a good experience and a positive experience for students and for faculty. And I think that's, you know, that's the goal, right? Is we want students to have that positive experience. We want them to come back. We want faculty to keep coming back to us as well. So, you know, that part is exciting. And, you know, we couldn't do it without all these teams coming together. And if you want to come reach out to us, we have lots of ways to do that. You know, feel free to schedule a consultation. You can schedule a consultation with any of our teams, and they're happy to talk and share that passion and excitement with any of you listening as well. Well, that feels like a good way to kind of end and send us off on this episode. I want to thank everybody, Jessica, Georgia, Elyssa, Valentin, for coming on here today, as well as, you know, everybody else who was involved in the project and is on those teams that we didn't get to talk to today. But thank you for being guests. This was really a lot of fun, and I think we learned a lot, and you know, we managed to sneak in a couple food analogies while we were in there too.
And if you're excited to learn more about coursemaker, visit coursemaker.arizona.edu for all of the great stuff you can download and learn about this new coursemaker.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
The Futures of Digital Learning podcast is a production of the University of Arizona University Center for Assessment, Teaching, and Technology. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas you'd like to share with our office, go to the Contact Us link on our website, ucatt.arizona.edu.